Hello friends, welcome to your own channel on data science and machine learning. In today's video, we will see how to build data pipelines using Apache Airflow. Recently, we at K2 Analytics had completed a project for one of our clients using Apache Airflow. We did ETL for lots of data, and while doing ETL, we learned that Apache Airflow is a very great tool to orchestrate data pipelines. Having learned a good amount of Airflow usage, I thought of creating this video series on how to use Apache Airflow for ETL and building data pipelines. So welcome all of you. In this video, we will see a brief introduction on Apache Airflow, and this would be an entire playlist that will enable you to learn and build your own data pipelines. What is Apache Airflow? Apache Airflow is a platform to programmatically author, schedule, and monitor workflows. As you can see, the definition, which is provided by the Apache Airflow, it is a tool for authoring, scheduling, and monitoring. The ETL code, the business logic, you have to still write in your Python program. Apache Airflow uses Python program for orchestration of the data pipeline. So your underlying code is written in Python. Why use Airflow? To orchestrate the data pipelines or the ETL workflows, visually show the data pipeline. The tool helps you easily schedule, monitor, and troubleshoot the pipelines. Moreover, it helps you automate and schedule the ETL task, which otherwise we would have to do using cron jobs. What are the key features of Airflow? It is pure Python based programming. So basically, if you have to create dynamic workflows, you'll have to write Python program to create the workflow. It gives you a very useful user interface. As you can see at the bottom, there is a snippet of the interface. It gives you a very useful interface to monitor, schedule, and manage your workflows. There are many pre-built robust integrators to connect to Google Cloud Platform, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and databases like MySQL, Postgre, and other databases, and many other third-party services. So basically, you can easily integrate the entire workflow with various source systems. It is very easy to use, provided you know Python programming, and because it is used for orchestrating ETL data pipelines, knowledge of ETL design is a requirement. So two requirements: Python programming, as Airflow is pure Python based programming. Second, it is used to build ETL pipelines. As such, basic logic of how to write ETL codes is required. And the best part is it's an open source tool. What are the challenges handled by Airflow? Failures. If there is a failure in execution of your job, it will automatically retry. You can configure how many times the workflow should be retried and how often it should be retried. You get a good user interface for monitoring the entire ETL workflow. Moreover, it gives you Gantt charts which help you show which process is taking how much time. You can identify the processes which are taking huge amount of time, thereby easily getting to pinpoint and nail the processes which are time consuming processes. The Airflow also helps you give data dependencies. Basically, it can help you organize the task and the order in which you can execute the task. One of the best feature of Airflow is, if you know ETL and assume you are writing your complete ETL job in Python script. When you write a complete ETL in Python script, the scripts can run in a sequential fashion only. However, with Airflow, we can have these jobs running in parallel also. We will see all of this as we progress and proceed and get our hands dirty on writing ETL data pipelines using Airflow. For now, let's quickly see the challenges handled by Airflow. It gives you scalability. There's no centralized scheduler between different cron machines. This Airflow solves the problem and gives you a centralized scheduler by which you can now schedule work that gets executed on multiple machines. Basically, it can make use of distributed computing. Parallel execution and distributed computing is two things which it gives you as an inbuilt feature. Deployment, you can, as you write your new ETL codes or as you make any changes, the scheduler at a periodic frequency, typically almost every second, it picks up the changes almost instantly. So you can make necessary changes and deploy your updated ETL very quickly. And one of the best feature is backfill, processing historic data. For example, I want to run the ETL for last 20 days. And I want to run the ETL such that it simulates the dates for the last 20 days. You can easily do using the backfill property, backfill feature of Airflow. These are some of the challenges which Airflow handles. So let's get started and quickly jump into building our first data pipeline. However, before you can build your first data pipeline, it is important that you have the Apache Airflow installed. Apache Airflow can be easily installed on a Linux machine, Linux, Ubuntu operating system. However, if you are using a Windows, in that case, you will have to install probably on a Docker. Here I have the installation guide given as per Linux. I'm going to use a Linux server. So one of the thing is you need to set the home. By default, the Airflow home is ~airflow. When you install the Apache Airflow, the syntax is pip3 install Apache Airflow. It will take this Airflow home as its default path. You need to initialize a database. By default, Airflow initializes SQLite. You can definitely organize the installation with other databases like Postgre. However, if you're just starting with Airflow installation, I would recommend go with the basic syntaxes and run Airflow initdb. Once you have installed it, you will have to launch the web server. The syntax is Airflow web server. By default, the port is 8080. In case your port 8080 is used by some other application, you can change this port. and you will have to run the scheduler. Scheduler is one of the important thing because it schedules your jobs, and because of the scheduler, the jobs will get executed automatically at a periodic frequency. Once you have executed Airflow web server and you have started the scheduler, you can launch the admin of Airflow by typing http localhost 8080 on your browser. For example, in my case, I already have this because I'm using a Linux server, and in my case, my 8080 port is blocked by some other application. So instead of running Airflow on 8080, I have executed it on 8083. But yeah, if you launch it, you will get the Airflow user interface, something like this. I know I have not gone into detail of installation. There are lots of other videos which are available on YouTube, which you can see and quickly do the installation. Let's get started with writing our first ETL code. When you install Airflow, there will be a file called Airflow config. In Airflow config, there will be a property DAGs folder. You need to save your DAG codes. DAG, Directed Acyclic Graph. Basically, this is the file where you detail the flow of your ETL data pipeline. There would be a default folder path setting. In my case, I have changed the path setting. It is expected the folder in which you put your DAGs should be having a folder named DAGs. So I have changed it, and having changed it, I have now all my code, as you can see, in this folder path. Do make necessary changes if you require, or go ahead with the default. Having said that, the folder where you need to put your files, let us get started with our first DAG. What we are going to do is we'll create a small DAG, a data pipeline, which starts, extract, transform, load, and end. To begin with, we are not going to write any business logic in the ETL process. We'll just create the pipeline. We'll create a dummy data pipeline. There are certain basic packages which we need to import to get started. First is DAG. From Airflow, import DAG. This is required to instantiate a DAG object. Second is operators. There are various data processing operations that we are going to perform. For that, we have various operators like Python operator, bash operator, branch operator, and so forth. This is our first example where we are just trying to create a pipeline. As such, I am taking a dummy operator. We would require datetime module. This module is to create a datetime object which we need to pass as a start date. This is a important input parameter for the DAG. As such, we will require the datetime module. We will create a default set of arguments. Here I'm just taking the bare minimum two arguments. One is owner and second is the start date. There are many other parameters which we can set as default arguments, and note this we have to create as a dictionary object. We'll pass this dictionary object when we create a DAG object, as we can see in the subsequent code. So here we create a DAG object, DAG, the name that we would like to give to this DAG, catch-up equal to false. If we set catch-up equal to true, then we can do backfill. We will see a separate example on the usage of backfill. So for now, just set catch-up equal to false. Default args equal to default args, the dictionary object which we created here. These are basic input parameters that we need to set. And now in this object, we will create the various operations. Now here, because we are not performing any business logic transformation or data extraction, so I have used all dummy operators with an objective of demonstrating the pipeline. However, if we would be doing some business logic, some transformations, then instead of using a dummy operator, we would be probably using a Python operator, which would in turn call some Python callable function where we would have written our data transformation logic. We will be seeing all of this in our videos. So for now, please continue and execute this code as it is being demonstrated on the screen. So here we have start, E just to say extraction, T for transformation, L for load, and end. The sequence in which these tasks extract, transform, load has to get executed is defined here. Basically, the last line which is shown here is showing the dependencies of how the DAG would execute. First, we will have the start task executing, then the E, the extract task, then T, the transform task, L for load, end. Sometimes some people call ETL as ELT. In that case, it becomes extract, load, and transform. So we can have this something like this also. I'll just comment it out. I'll save this file. Having written the code, in case you make any changes, you see this is a dot. At the file, you see a dot which indicates the file there's some changes. Control S, I save it. Okay. On your Linux terminal, you would have probably run airflow web server -p -p in small case, -p, and then some port number to launch the web server. I have already executed this syntax, and then you would have run a syntax airflow scheduler. I have already run the scheduler in a daemon mode. If you want to run the scheduler in a daemon mode, you will have to write -d option. Similar, for web server to be executed in daemon mode, you will have to use the option -d. I have already executed both of this. My scheduler is running in the background in daemon mode. So I can go and open the DAG. In your case, if you are running it on a local machine, you will have to write a syntax something like this, 8080. However, because I'm running on my server and it is running on a port 8083, so I'll give the server IP colon 8083. And when I run it, a list of DAGs are shown. In your case, you will have a list of DAGs. I think so, almost 32 DAGs. These are the default examples which are there, which are provided by the default installation. For me, those examples are not getting listed. The reason why these examples are not listed is somewhere in my config file, I have set example equal to false. Load examples equal to false. Because of that setting, the default examples which are there are not getting loaded. I have set all of these DAGs as paused, and here I'm unpause it, make one of them active. ETL, this name ETL has come from the DAG ID which we gave while creating the DAG object. If I click on this DAG ETL, I get all these admin controls, a grid view which shows when was my last execution and details about that, DAG details, total runs 1, total success 1, when it was executed, 19 June, and so forth, how much time it took. So you can see the Airflow is giving us lot of information about the data pipeline execution, when it got executed, how much time it took for execution. I want to see the entire DAG graph. Start, extract, transform, load, end. These are the task ID. So basically the name that you give in task ID gets reflected in the DAG. Okay. Now because the scheduler is running in the background, assume I make changes here. I change the task ID. I come back here, refresh it. Quite possibly, hopefully it should have refreshed by now, and come back to see the graph. Transform it, wrong spelling. So let me make this one more change, save it. Let me just say refresh here. It's not yet refreshed. So let me go back and once again let it load and see the graph. Probably it will take a few seconds, a couple of retries here. It's not happening. I hope I have saved the file. Yes, I have saved it. So let me once again just go back and come back. This sometimes may happen. There may be some delay. Okay, it's not happening. So let's anyways move forward. For extraction and load, you could see that the words have got changed. Here we can trigger the DAG manually. I click here, trigger. Yeah, you can see transform it has got changed. Our data pipeline has successfully executed. Great. So we have just prepared our first data pipeline. I know we have not put any code, but this is just a beginning. In subsequent video, we will see how to go about using a Python operator, how to go about writing a detailed DAG using a Python operator. And as you keep watching my videos, I'll be explaining you how to write some more complicated DAG, some of the DAGs which I have written. So I will be detailing out those codes by creating appropriate smaller versions of it. This will help you learn Airflow in detail. So keep watching the entire playlist. Don't drop off in the middle. I am making this entire playlist in a very sequential format, easy to understand format, and small chunks of code will give you the necessary uh, detailing by which you can build the entire ETL workflow. Thank you. With this, I end this part of the Airflow session. Keep watching, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, then I request you to click on the bell icon, subscribe icon, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.